A very good morning to all the participants. Welcome back to our course on the C programming language. In today's session, I'll be discussing about the reading and writing in files, and we will be concentrating only on how we can write a single character into the file and how we can read the single character from the file. So what are those functions? What are the predefined functions that are used to read and write single characters with respect to the files? So we have two different functions for each reading and writing the single characters into the files. Let us discuss the first part, that is how we can read the characters, single characters from the files. What are the functions that help us in reading single characters from the files? So we have two different functions. One is getc and the second function is fgetc. C stands for character and F stands for file. Similarly, for writing a single character onto the file, we have two different functions. One is putc and the second one is fputc. These are all the four functions that help the programmers to get or put a single character into the files. We'll see each and every function with their syntaxes and everything, but we'll be explaining the program with the fgetc and fputc. Right. So there is no much difference between this getc and fgetc. Let us take the syntaxes. So at this part I am writing how we can read the things or how we can read the characters from the files. As I told that we have two different functions. One is getc and second one is fgetc. If you go for the syntax of this getc, it is going to read one character from the file. So there is no need to specify what character to read. The simple thing what the programmer, what the compiler will do is, wherever the file pointer is pointing, that character will be read and that will be returned, and that should be stored in a variable which is of type character. So for specifying getc and fgetc, there is no need to specify the characters. So the single parameter is sufficient for this getc. For example, if you take the syntax of getc, we need to specify the file pointer, that's it. So only one parameter it will accept, that is getc file star fp. Similarly, if you consider the syntax of fgetc, it also accepts only one parameter, that is fgetc of the single parameter will be the file pointer. So both of them are very much similar and they are used to read a single character from the files, and if they are successful they will return one particular value, that means how many characters that have been successfully read. Therefore the syntax or the return type of these functions will be int. Why we can since fgetc is returning a character, but we have given the return type of this function as integer. The reason why we have mentioned this fgetc and getc return types to be int is, while it is successful, it will read the characters, and if it is not successful, it has to return an error condition. The error condition is indicated by EOF. EOF is not a character, it is a value. That is the reason why the getc and fgetc, the return type has been specified as integers. And why we require these two functions? Isn't it sufficient to have only one function like getc? Isn't it sufficient? Or fgetc, isn't it sufficient? Means both this getc and fgetc, both of them work for the same purpose of getting one character from the file at a time. And this fgetc is purely implemented as a function. So this particular difference is also very important. Why we require two functions like getc and fgetc? What is the difference between this getc and fgetc? Means fgetc is purely implemented as a function, whereas getc is implemented, or it can be implemented as a macro also. So we'll have one session for these macros in the coming classes. So just remember that getc can be implemented as a macro, and when compared to the speed of execution between this getc and fgetc, fgetc executes slower than this getc. Why? Because fgetc is a pure function. Therefore, a function call will take some more time when compared to that of macros. So the getc is faster than the fgetc. This is another important difference between the getc and fgetc. But remember, when you want to deal with reading characters from the files, you can make use of both these functions. There is no doubt about it. But you can see here, these are the two major differences between this fgetc and getc. Getc is a macro, therefore it is faster. Fgetc is a function, therefore it is somewhat slower in mechanism. Right. And while this particular fgetc function is reading a character from the file, it will read the ASCII values. You please remember this concept. It will read the ASCII values of the corresponding characters. We know that ASCII value is a particular number that is designated to each and every character in the C programming language. So when it is getting the character, it means it is getting the ASCII value from it. That is the reason why we can say that the return type of these functions is integer. So these are the two functions that help us in reading single characters from the files. Now let us discuss how we can write a single character into the file. As I told that we have two different functions. Writing in the sense we need to put it. Therefore, the two functions are putc and fputc. And coming to the syntax of this putc, since you are writing a character into the file, you should specify what character to be entered into the file. Therefore, this putc accepts two parameters. The first parameter is the character which you want to write onto the file, and the second parameter is obviously a file pointer. And here also the return type of this putc is integer. In a similar fashion, the syntax for fputc is also going to accept two parameters. The first parameter is char ch and the second parameter is the file pointer. So char ch is nothing but the character which you want to insert into the file, and the return type is also integer. Similar to that of the similar differences what we have shown in getc and fputc, this putc and fputc has the similar differences between them. So these are all the four functions that are used to read and write the characters into the files. Now let us go with the programming part where we try to insert characters into the file and then we try to read those characters from the file. Right. So this is a program. Sorry. This is a C program to illustrate the concept of, what is this function? fputc. First we will put one character inside the file. So the first line is I am including the header file which is stdio.h, and in the second line I am starting my main function. And since we are dealing with files, let me take a file pointer, file star fp, and since I want to insert a character, I'll take a character variable char ch is equal to, and let me assign it to a single character, that is s. Since it is a character constant, you should include it in single quotations. Now I wish to insert, or I wish to write this character ch onto the file. Before that you have to open that file. So fp is equal to, I am using the fopen function, and the first parameter is the name of the function, that is output.txt, name of the file, and then I should specify in which mode I want to open. Since you want to write a character onto the file, you should open the file in the write mode only. Right. After this, I make use of fputc function, and the first parameter is the character which I want to insert, that is I have stored that character s inside this ch. Therefore I will give the first parameter as ch, and the second parameter is the file pointer to which you want to insert. Now I would like to close this by using the fclose function. So this is a very simple program that illustrates the fputc program function. Let us see what is the output here. Right. You can see here that this is my main program where I have used this fputc to insert one character into the file output.txt, and which is pointed by this file pointer fp. Now when I execute this program, I get the output.txt, and you can see here that a single character is inserted into it. Right. Now let us make some modifications in the program such that I want to read that single character and I want to display it. So I know that the function that is used to read a single character from the file is fgetc. So here I will write it as fgetc illustration. And I told that when you want to deal with the same file, you have to first close that file and then you have to reopen it with the different mode. Since I want to read the character from the file, I would like to open the file in the read mode only. So from where I would like to get this single character is output.txt, and my mode of opening the file is the read mode. Now what I will do is I can take another variable, let us say as ch1, and here what I will do is I will use fgetc and it accepts only one parameter, as I told that is fp. And once it returns the value, it should be stored inside one particular character. Let me see. And just I want to print it. So printf since I am printing the character %c and the ch1 is my and I want to close it here. Let me see what is the output. See here. So whatever value that is written in this ch, that is stored inside the ch, that is first stored inside this output.txt, and from this output.txt I am reading it by using this fgetc, and I am just printing it. You can directly, by for example, if I don't want to use this to statement, I can directly give it as printf, the format specifier is c, and here you can call the function fgetc of fp. That's it. So whatever character you read, that will be directly printed onto the screen. Let me change the character to understand whether it is working correctly or not. So instead of s, I have taken c. See here, the value inside this output.txt has been changed, and I got the output as c. So this is how the fgetc and getc, fputc is going to work. And you please make a note that these two functions are used to deal with single characters in the files. Let us see whether it will work with putc and getc. I just have changed this fputc with putc and fgetc with getc. Let me change the character also to understand whether it is working perfectly or not. So I have changed the character from C to A. Let us run it. See here. So the value inside this output.txt is changed, and similarly, what is the value I got here? It is A, which is present inside this output.txt. So this is the program to illustrate putc and getc. So if you want to observe the difference between this putc and fputc or getc and fgetc, you should know the approximate the execution time. Maybe this particular program may not have that much difference. Why? Because it's a very simple program. But when you go and write large programs, and when you try to collect the execution time of both the functions like putc and fputc, then you will come to know what is the difference, exact difference between this putc and fputc. Right. So this is all about this putc and fputc, getc and fgetc. So before wrapping up, let us have a quick recap of what we have discussed in today's class. So we started our today's class on reading and writing into the files, and we have concentrated only on reading and writing characters, single characters onto the files. And reading a single character and writing a single character takes, we have two functions for each of these operation. For reading we have getc and fgetc, and for writing we have putc and fputc. We have seen the syntaxes of getc and fgetc. Both these functions, since they are intended to read a single character, only one parameter is sufficient, that will be the file pointer itself. And while reading, you make a note that they are going to return the ASCII values of the characters. In a similar fashion, when you want to write single characters onto the files, we have two functions, that is putc and fputc. We have seen the syntaxes for this putc and fputc, which accepts two parameters. The first parameter is the character which you want to insert, and the second parameter is the file pointer. So these are the two functions we have seen, and later we have moved our discussion towards the illustration of this fputc and fgetc with a small C program. That's all for today's session. Thank you one and all for joining the session.